an 18th century type letter would have been written on the paper was a little bit smaller than we're accustomed to. And when someone wrote a letter, it was a big deal because when they put their words to paper, they became permanent. So they put a lot of thought into what they wrote. It took lots of time, and they practiced very fancy penmanship. And then they carefully folded and mailed the letter. So I'll just write a couple of words. I don't want to do a whole lot of writing because I don't want to have things take too long to dry. But who shall I write this to? What's her name? Miss Robertson?
Miss Robinson.
Robinson. Ms.?
Yes.
Ms. Robinson. And I'll just say, good luck today. And I will sign it sincerely. 18th century writing was a little bit different because they wrote with their entire arm. I'm not doing it quite right, but if I signed my name in fancy form, it would have been.
That's really pretty.
I would have added a little flourish underneath it. Now, 18th century had a little item, they sometimes called it a sander, but it's also called a pounce pot. And they had a powder in here that they would sprinkle onto the wet ink so that it would dry more quickly and not be as messy. So we're going to let that kind of commiserate there just a little bit, and then instead of trying to put it back in the pot, I'm just going to shake it off over here, and that'll just get ground up into the rug with everything else that's in the rug. So now to prepare the letter for mailing, you have to do the folds. I'm doing this really quickly. They would have been very slow and meticulous in how they did it. And they use their whalebone letter folder. I do 2 side flaps. And then across the top, I do a single flap down. And then the bottom fold up. The second fold up. And then you measure that to where it lands just right. And then to make it into an envelope, remember that little top flap we did? And it's got these little edges from the side folds. You tuck your bottom into that on both sides. That way you have your makeshift envelope. And so then I have to address the letter. Kershaw County, the South Carolina Colony. Instead of using powder, I'm just using the old-fashioned blow-on-it method. Right? Now,
this is like the secondary
to seal it,
Bro, this is what
I'm doing it this way so I won't burn my hand like I did a minute ago with the wax stick. Takes just a second from the heat. Get the wax, you see it starting to melt in my bowl.
That's really cool to watch. Oh wow, that's awesome.
See how it's melting?
It's awesome looking.
So it takes a second. I'm sorry about the delay, but you know, it just got to have a little while to melt.
How did they erase things?
Then,
Oh, so
pour your daub right there.
So they can
And I take my wax seal, which has a bird on
They
it,
would have to throw away the paper
and I put my mark
Bro, that's kind of crazy.
and let the wax settle in and let it cool.
This may just make a big
And then
Yeah, you can't draw with what you have to
the letter's sealed so that Mrs. Robinson is the only person in the world who should open that letter. She gets to crack the wax seal and open the letter.